You're listening to the Perth Property Show, Australia's only weekly property podcast by West Australian experts for West Australian listeners. Catch your latest episode every Monday at 7 a.m.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Perth Property Show. My name's Trent Fleskens, your host as always. This week, we're doing another suburb update. We're going to do a number of these over the next few weeks, getting the real on-the-ground specialist information from our number one agents across Perth. And as the title says, we're going to go back to Doubleview for the first time in nearly 7 years. Before that, I want to do a quick update with you guys on where the market is sitting on a weekly basis right now. Another week in the 800s with regards to stock, with regards to transactions. That's very much the same as, nearly exactly the same as last year. So demand side, pretty much steady as she goes. Stock on market, 3,000 properties on the market. Despite the turbulence on the other side of the world right now, we are buying as many properties pretty much as we are selling every week. And we're sitting just over half the amount of properties on the market compared to last year. When will this change? Who knows? We're in a bit of a logjam right now, and that is going to continue to push prices up, dampened by expected interest rate rises we'll have over the next couple of months because of those oil prices. Direction will still be up, but probably dampened a little bit compared to what we expected the growth to be a couple of months ago before all this kicked off. To have that conversation about Doubleview, there's only one man I can talk to, and that is the number one sales agent in Doubleview. He was the number one sales agent last time we spoke about Doubleview nearly 7 years ago. He's changed logos behind him, but he hasn't changed teams. It's Richard Clucas, sales rep at Home. Hello, mate.
Thanks for having me. Absolute pleasure. Again, 7 years later.
It is.
A little bit grey, a little bit wiser.
Definitely. Both of us are definitely grayer. But I'd like to think wiser is also true, especially when it comes to our understanding of the property market today, especially Doubleview. First off, though, I wanted to have a quick reference to the logo that sits on top of your face on the street signs these days. It used to be Abel McGrath. It's now Home. What happened?
Yeah, so Abel McGrath shifted to Edison McGrath, changed there, and then just recently changed again. So Home is actually an acronym for Home of Hunter McGrath, respecting the past of what was back in 2000 when Abel McGrath started in the cells of Fremantle Prison. I think they rented space there, and that's where it all began. So Home is an acronym of Home of Hunter McGrath. Obviously a great play on words from a marketing perspective, so we're having a lot of fun there. But Hunter being hunter-gatherer, going out there hunting every day, but not just that as well. Our current director as well, Ross Hunter, so respecting the current name that leads the pack.
The same office, pretty much same people.
Yeah, same office. So Claremont, that's where we've always been. Back in the day with Abel McGrath. As part of this brand change, we did also buy Wright Real Estate that was on Doric Street in Scarborough.
Yep.
So Jeff Wright there, that's obviously been a household name around that neck of the woods for many decades. So we've taken over that office now. So we've got more of a market presence in Scarborough, Doubleview, Wembley Downs now.
Well, you're very local now. It's as local as it gets, Scarborough Beach Rd.
I even bought a Vespa, $1,800. So now as the apocalyptic scenes in the Middle East happen,
you're not worried.
What was an investment of $1,800 a few weeks ago is now probably gone up in value, given it only cost $10 to fill up. But there we go. So yeah, super hyper local now, more so than ever before.
So if there's a guy hooning around in his Vespa up and down Princess and Huntress, it's you.
Yeah, a little white one. Exactly. 2-stroke 50cc. Let's go.
I love it.
It's a real game changer, I guess, just in terms of market presence. And
let's be honest, though, that market
that
presence
well.
has been Richard Clucas for many years. It doesn't matter what logo was behind your name. People know you omnipotently as the number one agent in the area. And if they don't know who Richard Clucas is, then they obviously haven't been looking at the street signs for the last 10 years.
That's what I'd like to think as well. And my daughters also think I'm number one agent too.
So that's fantastic. Let's have a chat about what life was like for you as an agent in May 2019 when you laid down one of the first episodes on this podcast.
Yeah.
Tell me about the dynamic at the time. How did you approach selling property back then in a time that was the darkest before the dawn, really?
Yeah, how the few years that followed that were quite uncertain. And that's still to the day something that I carry when I go to meet with sellers and buyers. I guess the whole idea is certainty. It's something that no one can buy, and being able to rest your head on a pillow at night, knowing full well that life's going to be okay, is an important one. And it's definitely probably more now, as you said yourself, more of a logjam in this market where people don't quite know whether to buy and then sell or sell and then buy. So to have that certainty. But to come back to your question, how life has changed. So back then, I was trying to cast my mind back, and I think there was two of us. So I had an admin and then myself, which I guess natural progression as a salesperson, you look to handball a lot of the paperwork, maybe get a bit more assistance on the ground as well. And naturally and organically over time, just wanting to build a team, which then as a salesperson myself, I can grow into the space that I want to be.
The bits of your job you love. Yeah.
Exactly. And focus.
Because we don't love all of them.
Not all of them, but it's still important to have insight and presence in those areas that you don't necessarily like as well. Because I think as the team builds, you need to have an understanding and insight into those areas that maybe are the bottleneck to be able to then move forward, as we've spoken just before as well. To be able to create that team, and it's not just about creating the team where you can therefore handball those jobs that you don't want to do. It's also about growing and developing a team that then you have and you witness yourself the growth of a team just from an ability sense and understanding where your team wants to go and what they want to do.
There's a lot of energy that comes with that.
Yeah, and seeing them and putting them in positions where they are uncomfortable, but they do want to be. But just understanding and providing that foundation and structure, that scaffold for them to be in that place, knowing full well that if they don't succeed or fail, that they just pick themselves up and keep moving forward.
7 years ago, it was you and an assistant running with a lot more listings. How many listings would you run with back then?
On the market at any one time, probably 8 to 10, I'd say.
Okay. And now you've got 2 more people in the team servicing the buy side, assisting with home opens, and the amount of people that are coming through. That is a big dynamic change, right? Back then, how many people would walk through your home open?
Yeah, we're probably scratching
sometimes
the edges.
none.
28 days on market or something like that. I went on a RP data the other day and looked at a property, and on there the last time it was sold, it was on the market for only 28 days. That's what it was advertised at. So that brought us back some memories where properties selling within 28 days was actually probably a
great thing. Yeah, I think 2 to 3 months would have been the median. Well, I know 2 to 3 months was the median across most suburbs at the time.
Yeah.
So you had far less people coming through, therefore needing far less assistance to
more properties,
take names, take numbers, assist people, and obviously across more properties. So it's a weird dynamic, isn't it? You're going to far more home opens on a weekend, but you're scratching around trying to get people to come through the front door at the same time, and then obviously a little bit different now.
Yeah, it is. So I think now, and the reason that I've grown my team just in the last sort of 3 months to bring on an additional person is just understanding really that the value that buyers bring and the attention that they deserve.
Explain that for me.
So I think right now, buyers aren't treated to the same level as what they should be, given what they bring in the short term and in the long term as well. Ultimately, in the long term, they're going to buy a house, they're going to remember how they were treated, and that's going to either...
That could be a client.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be either a listing later on or it's not. Also, how they were treated. People love to talk about real estate, how they were treated, what they don't like, what they do. And a lot of the time, people are more than happy to talk about their bad experience than their good experience. And you do not want to be a part of that conversation of the bad experience.
Well, they say it's one bad experience is equal to 10 good ones. And to be frank, on Google reviews, what I know arbitrarily is one star review. Yeah, we've had a couple of, we got in our settlements team, we've had over 600 5-star reviews, and I think we've had 3 1-star reviews. And what we know is for every 1-star review, it takes 50 5-star reviews to negate it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it probably talks to the dynamic of social cohesion as well across the board, is that you only need one bad review to really stuff your week up.
Yeah, exactly. And then how that affects you personally as well. No one likes a bad review, and then it's perception of yourself out there in the marketplace. And then I guess in the short term, building trust and rapport and giving buyers the time to be able to answer their questions, because let's be honest, like, people only buy and sell real estate, say, unless you're an investor or life throws some curveballs, like 7 to 10 years.
Yep.
And the whole idea of stamp duty right now as well, and the cost of stamp duty, a lot of people, and for a lot of people, this is what I'm recommending, is if you're going to be upsizing to a property that's $2 million, stamp duty is going to be 90 of that. What if you were just to take that 90,000 and maybe renovate or extend the home that you're in? What does that then look like? Is it the location that you love, or is it the size of the house?
And that's the thing, it's rarely the location. It's actually, we've outgrown it, or it's just a bit shabby.
Yeah,
90 grand gets you a long way.
It does, 100%. I guess that's the reason for bringing on an additional person in the last few months, is really understanding that. So now, as agents, it's our job to work when others are home. And the same thing can be applied for home opens as well. Like, we need to be on show, personally, how I feel, Saturday and Sunday when most people are off, okay? Understanding the value of the weekend for buyers, and that's when they have the availability, not just to attend in person, but also the time to be able to discuss themselves, have a bit of time just to draw breath, have a think, and not have the monotony of the week upon them, to try and fit that into the half an hour they've got spare.
It's showtime for you guys.
Totally,
Yeah.
exactly.
And every home open is an opportunity for you to get one of those valuable listings right now.
And it's make or break. And it also, it goes to show the market, the work ethic and the structure that you've got in place as well as a team. Fortunately, in my instance, having brought that, there's now 4 of us in my team, including myself. So on a Saturday, there's myself and Mon. Mon's on the door, I'm on the floor. And then on Sunday, there's Elle and Blake. Elle's on the door, Blake's on the floor. So having somebody there around the kitchen table being able to answer questions, what next, but observing people as well. Are they touching things, like sensory guides that say, oh, that person looks like they're interested because they're the old real estate video agent touches the stone
That's right.
workbench, cooktop. And then just being mindful of those subtle cues to be able to speak to them and answer any questions. If there's one person taking name and number at the door, then they're not in a position to be able to identify this when people are walking through the home.
So it's really over-servicing at the home open level now, which is ironic because you'd nearly think you'd have to do it in a slow market more than in a tight market.
Yeah.
But it's quite funny that it's the tight market with all the buyers and the fewer sellers nearly necessitates that you've got to step your game up in order to service a buyer to one day be able to actually service the seller.
Yeah.
It's quite circular in that nature.
And people are also busy during the week, like doing callbacks. Like, home opens are the time to be able to enter into discussion, conversation, to understand where they're at as well. That is the time that you want to be able to be present and have the ability to have a conversation with them and not feel like you're strung in 4 different directions to get the relevant information, whether it be names, numbers, or where they're at and what they're looking for.
I want to do a bit of a pulse check for you, possible on your homes in Doubleview right now. 2019,
Yep.
How many offers were you getting on a property on average?
2 if you're lucky.
Okay. How about 6 months ago?
On average, 8, I would say.
Okay. And what about now?
Very similar, like the wrap at the commencement of this podcast. The numbers are pretty consistent now. I think 1,900 homes on the market, and it's been 1,900 for a little while. It feels like people are only selling when they buy a place, and then there's one property out of the market, one property in the market.
So you haven't felt
The ratios are very similar.
a
over the
huge
last 6 months.
change in the last 6 months in terms of the dynamics, the energy, the heat with regards to buyers versus sellers. It's pretty consistent. Yeah. Interesting.
It's the continued conversation around, I don't have anything to move to. Some people, based upon the guidance that they're giving, may look to sell before they buy, but I personally think that's running the gauntlet and an extremely risky process and scenario to face.
Are you employing the strategy as a sales agent on behalf of your sellers, for your sellers, of conditioning a lot of your sales where, we want our money in 45 days or 60 days, but we need an option for a rent back for 6 months, that you're protecting your sellers? Is there a lot of that happening?
I wouldn't even do that in this market, because I just feel that if you lock in a price now, and even if you were to be able to provide a rent back period for, say, 6 months, what's to say in 6 months their house is not worth more? So for me, it's more around...
So the opportunity cost is really front of mind for you, for your sellers.
100%.
So how do you solve that right now?
certainty as well. Like, you've
Of
got no
course.
control.
Yeah.
And what I don't want to happen is them to be making a decision based on pressure. Like, let's be honest, a lot of the time, people are buying homes, upsizing, downsizing, change of chapter, not out of necessity, but out of luxury. And unless it's family circumstances or something that they are unable to...
Death, divorce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Then they're very happy. And let's be honest, like, the apocalyptic scenes in the Middle East right now really drums home how good we have it, and the ability, again, of certainty to rest your head on a pillow at night, go to sleep knowing full well that you haven't missed out or you sold
Create
today.
that stasis, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it certainly is creating it on a sales side in some regards. I think there'll be some investor-led people who might look at this and go, oh, fear, I'll sell now rather than maybe in 6 months, I'll just do it now.
Yeah.
But as you said, there are also probably a number of people on the sales side who are owner-occupiers going, nah, I'm not selling. I'm not bringing my property to market, so no more stock on market coming again.
Yeah.
And that just counterbalances, to be frank, any people whose FOMO buying behaviour has been watered down a little bit over the last few weeks because of that fear and stasis. We saw it a year ago, right? A year ago, we had Trump tariffs, we had interest rates, we had going up, and we had 2 elections in the first quarter of last year. And so we saw nearly no growth, and we saw nearly all of the growth in the second half of 2025, which was substantial, 15-16% in the space of 6 months. We've already seen about 5% in the first 3 months of this year. But I wouldn't be surprised if our Q2 this year is somewhat characterised by continued pressure and a lack of stock on market and that buying pool staying very similar. But again, a logjam and maybe just not the same amount of price growth as we saw in the first quarter simply because of some level of stasis that just comes from uncertainty around the globe. But it probably won't change the dynamics when it comes to how many people are putting offers in, given how much fat there is in the market right now of continual pressure.
Yeah. And the seasonality as well, coming into now we're in autumn.
The first quarter is often the selling season.
So it'll be interesting to see just the volume of stock that does surface over the next 6 months as we move through winter.
Yeah.
Because traditionally there are less homes to sell.
Talk to me about the buyer profile and how that's changed. What we know is that in Doubleview in 2019, our median house price was around $700,000. It's now $1.3 million.
Yeah.
As we know that we could be buying townhouses at the back in the rear laneway townhouses in the sevens back then, flats for 300-400 grand. You remember these days?
Different world.
The most expensive property was just over $3 million in your last interview in May 2019. Yeah. What's it now?
5.5.
5.5 mil.
Yeah.
So huge step change there. Really reflective of the median house price change across the board. So prices have changed really across the board homogeneously.
Yep.
All up that 70-80% like a lot of the rest of Perth. How has that augmented the people who are coming through your home opens? What do they used to look like? How could you characterise them 2019 versus 2026?
There's quite a few out there that are still looking.
Jesus.
So
we shouldn't laugh about that.
Tail. Yeah, I know, but that's probably again. But I think a lot of people were also waiting for, I think it was maybe 2023 when interest rates started to creep up. There were quite a few buyers out there looking for a bit of bloodshed, and that didn't happen, and prices continued to increase. And yeah, we are in the market that we are now. But I think that the buyer profile, a lot of people that are living in the area at the moment are riding that same wave. So proportionally, as the market moves up, so does the value in the equity that they've got. And this is the whole thing of not selling now in order to buy something in 2 months' time, because you want to be buying and selling in the same market.
In the same week, if you could.
Yeah, exactly, within half an hour. Like if you've got your home prepared for sale and you found a place, Rich, let's go. And within half an hour, it's on the market and you're open this weekend. And I think that speed of transaction is important and having prepped. But
are there less first home buyers?
Yes. Yeah. Less first home buyers. A lot of them are upsizers. I guess with what you've got around Doubleview, there's a natural current almost like in the movie Nemo. You got people from like Innaloo that maybe got a townhouse there or a duplex.
They're circulating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they jump Huntress Road and head into the north side of Scarborough Beach Rd there. High density. And then once they've had their time there, they've got a couple of kids and the assets growth has been there, they then look to move south of Scarborough Beach Road and to the hill and with the views, and then potentially down to Woodlands, Wembley Downs. At which point the kids have grown up, they've left home and they are looking to retire. So then they start to look north of Scarborough Beach Road again and start to find something that's street front single level that fits the bill to be able to access that equity that we've got.
We actually see that in a number of circular markets in Perth.
Yeah.
I was referencing this a couple of weeks ago about Michael Jennings, number one agent in Melville, talking to that circularity between your Willagee, Melville, Bicton, and just this circular nature of people cycling through there as well. Yeah,
and being able to build those relationships and the trust as well, being able to be that household name. So, yeah, it is super interesting. But I think to answer your question, everyone's riding the same wave in terms of the market growth at the moment. And that's why it's just so important at the moment not to sell until you've got a property to go to.
So who is selling? Why are they selling if they are? Because you're clearly not an advocate for selling right now. If you've got to sell, why are they coming to you?
I am an advocate for selling. I'm a salesperson after all, but not at the expense of uncertainty. And that's where I guess the whole idea of being an advisor as opposed to a salesperson. I think there's a fine balance between the two, having their best interests at heart, not just
that is the difference, isn't it?
So upsizing, I guess, is the natural progression. It is natural progression through life, whatever it might be. It might be there's duplex 3x2, they've got 2 kids now and they need an extra living area, that type of thing. It takes people probably a good 2 or 3, maybe 4 months to really understand that what they're looking for isn't there, maybe a bit of a unicorn, and that compromise is going to have to come into play, be it higher budget or less expectation on the features that the home offers as well.
Most people would also be surprised at what their house could sell for too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't know that until you've
put it on the market.
Yeah. And therein is the conundrum. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's natural progression is the main thing, not necessarily life events as death and divorce and all those scenarios, but generally speaking, it's natural progression, people upsizing, people downsizing.
Yeah. So really people just getting pincered by their life chapters and just having to pull the trigger at some point in time.
Yeah.
And then you're there trying to provide that certainty, trying to make it as efficient as possible so they can and move on to the next chapter, which is one of the most awkward parts of our life, isn't it? Having to move between chapters.
Yeah.
It's the scariest part of our life.
And then when you've got to factor in school zones and those types of aspects that for the better school zones come with a price point.
Let's talk about those price points then. Last time you ran us through those price points, flats, triplex units, townhouses, full block properties on South Scarborough Beach Rd. Can we go through them again?
Sure, let's go.
Flats, what am I buying a flat for now?
Probably you'd be looking around 700 to 800,000 for a 2x1.
So we've more than doubled in that time.
Yep.
Is that just a price floor, just lifting everything up?
Yeah.
5% scheme, did that make a difference?
I think it does for sure. But I also think in Doubleview, because there's very few of those higher density options around, it definitely pushes
scarcity
that price
factor.
up.
Triplex units, what am I paying for one now? Used to be $500,000.
Yeah, you're probably around $1 million now. Single level duplexes, 3x1, you're up around 1.18. Sold them recently. For a full block north of Scarborough Beach Rd, your fibro 2x1 wall service home, you're probably looking around 165.
Not many of them around anymore, is there?
No, very few. Land holding as well. That's what a lot of people are doing, just renting it out.
Rear townhouse?
Rear townhouse, your 1.7. Street front townhouse, 1.85.
So what you've demonstrated is that across the board, we're at least 80% growth, sometimes more than 100% growth in the last 7 years, which really talks to the value and the consistency of a place like Doubleview and also the variety of options too. What about development on the back of those price rises? Have you seen people coming in, pushing the next triplex, the next townhouse? Is it obviously becoming scarcer and scarcer? There's far less opportunities. Yeah. Has the built form changed in the last 7 years about what people are doing based on maybe price points or square meterage?
Yeah, I guess there seems to be less mum and dad developers out there, that's for sure.
That's across the board.
Yeah, definitely. Those companies that have the backing and have the manpower, the funds.
It's just harder. It's more expensive, it's more complex and far riskier, and obviously just the time it takes to do with builders and stuff. There's just so much more complexity and, as you said, risk. And so I think it has priced out most of your mum and dads.
Yeah.
So less supply again.
Yeah. From a time frame, it's hard to then plan and schedule when you're going to get your return as well. So again, coming back to certainty, human nature.
Median house prices in your 1.3s now. Yeah. What would you buy for that?
1.3. It would be a 3x2, possibly single level.
That's where you go.
Yeah.
North or south of Scarborough Beach Rd?
You probably wouldn't get that south, more so north.
Okay. And if you had all the money in the world to spend in Doubleview right now, what would it be?
50 mil tomorrow.
What would it be and on what street? And what would you have to pay for it?
Yeah, so...
I'm asking you pretty much what's your favourite house in Doubleview, probably.
What's my favourite street? It's hard to pick. So the different areas provide different options naturally, okay? And what I mean is between Scarborough Beach Rd and Ewan Street, it's R30. So the City of Stirling are going through there at the moment, sealing laneways and putting lighting in. Finally, it's been a while, slowly. But a lot of the full blocks there are subdivisible, so that provides that opportunity there. Also proximity to the likes of Corner Dairy, St Bridget's Bar, Healthy Bunch, Dunham Walton, all of that public transport.
That village life.
It's just, and it's just close to the international school and Doubleview Primary School. So that offers a lot. But then it depends also if you want views. If you want views, then Parramatta or Sydenham or Alva and that side of, south of Ewan Street again. And then do you want ocean views or city views?
What does Richard Clucas want?
I reckon city views. I think,
so you'd be east side of the street?
East side of the street.
On the escarpment there, looking back towards the city, Innaloo. So it has to be Princess Parramatta Sydenham, doesn't it?
It would have to be, yeah.
And what am I paying for the nicest house on that street?
The highest price to date, 5.5 mil. And that sold 2019, I think it was, for about 2.5.
Wow.
So that was the record at that point.
It just shows, again, replacement cost theory, the massive increase on the big houses that cost a lot of money. You can't build them for that anymore. The house wouldn't have been able to be built for 2.5 these days.
Yeah. But I also think like the perception of the area has changed as well considerably. I feel that and I was just having this conversation with somebody just yesterday, is that it's almost like what was traditionally the Golden Triangle has shifted.
It's like a trapezium now.
It's a pentagon. And as you push out towards North Beach, Trigg, Sorrento, all of that, what money can buy. And I guess when you talk about by demographic as well, yes, you do get people looking to buy in the area, but then all of a sudden, when you've got 1.6 to spend and you're wanting a full block, and what that's going to buy you is a fibro shack, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, people then naturally look at where's the next best spot. And that's where Duncraig, Kareem, potentially Greenwood, Padbury start to come into play, is that then you get a lot more bang for your buck, just depending on location and proximity, what's important for you.
Yeah, how long do you want to be on the freeway?
Yeah, totally. I think by demographic, but coming back to Doubleview, depending on also whether you want views of the city or the ocean. The ocean's pretty boring to look out at night, I figured.
I agree. Yeah,
beautiful
look,
in the day.
The views is probably some of the best views in the city from the east side of the road in Doubleview, looking back down towards the city. Some of the most expansive views. You're up at about 70, 80 metres above sea level, and you can only really do that in one other place in the city, and that's in the hills.
Yeah.
So Doubleview really stands up to its name in that sense, and it provides some absolute Beverly Hills style views from that, and a lot of people would never have had the privilege to see that. So it's pretty special. Anyone listening now, go up and find the water tower up on the corner of Princess and Ewan and look back down Ewan, and you'll see some pretty beautiful views at night.
Yeah, it's incredible. As value for money, again, people looking around Floreat, the traditional western suburbs, and what money can buy into Woodlands, Wembley Downs, Scarborough. And Scarborough forefront, let's be honest, they've done an amazing job down there. And with the cat bus now as well, the City of Stirling's trialling, which is great. And I see that they've had a really successful start. A lot of people engaging with that, which hopefully creates more of a vibe than what's already down there as well.
It's already a great place to live, and I'm a big fan of that whole area, and I expect as more development and investment into the amenity space in that suburb and that area continues, we will just continue to see price rises in Doubleview and Scarborough and Innaloo as a splash zone as an outcome of that. Mate, thanks so much for coming in. Great to have you back after 7 years.
And 7 years from now.
It might have to be a bit earlier than that.
2032.
We'll be a lot greyer. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Perth Property Show. If you've only just joined the conversation, you can catch up by heading over to our website, perthpropertyshow.com.au, subscribing to the podcast, or joining our Facebook page. Don't forget to tune in next Monday at 7 a.m. for more expert insights, local analysis, and suburb spotlights. Happy hunting!